All right, folks, thank you very much for joining me with this kind of last minute workshop slash talk story session about our select programs at Kapi'olani Community College. This was brought on because we are getting a lot of fall 2024 applications. Thank you very much. And we are seeing students who are putting the select program on their application, which is still great, but I want to just go through the process on how that selection process works and how we take care of it on the back end. I'm going to talk about three things more: what the select programs are. I'm also going to share some statistics, and then how to help your students. And I did look at all your questions, so I'm going to try to field all of them. And hopefully, in the presentation, I do address some of those questions. But as questions come up, please throw it in the chat between Alfie and myself. We'll field them, and because we want to make sure we provide you with as much information so you can help your students. That is our ultimate goal. I want to check something real fast. Okay. So the selection process. So just to make it very simple, our select programs is anything health plus new media arts. So that's the simplest way to understand the differences of what is a non-select program and a select program. So when you go to our website, kapi'olani.hawaii.edu, I'll throw that in the chat. You just find your program, go into healthcare, and then you'll see all of our health programs. More on the credit side. It'll list the non-credit, but just focus on the credit side. So if your students are saying, "Oh, I want to become a nurse," there's a lot of options, but just know that's a select program and there's a process to that. So again, select programs, anything health science related plus new media arts. Any questions about that before I move on to the next one? Any questions at all for now? So we usually do this at our dual credit NSO. If you guys are all good, if in the chat, if you could write good, then I'll move on to the next one. So in the chat, if you could write good, then I'll move on to the next. Of course, Alfie has to put gravy. Anyway, so when you go to these different websites, encourage your students to explore all of it. And I'll show you an example of what two of our popular program sheets look like. So we'll start with nursing. So this is nursing. And the way I got there, if you scroll down to Associate's Degree in Nursing, otherwise known as ADN, and you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll see a lot of great links that will help your students kind of make decisions on what their next steps will look like. So this may seem overwhelming, but just a lot of great information. The one to focus on maybe as a first link to click on would be this self-advising form, and it looks like this. What you'll see here are courses that are what we call prerequisites to, in this case, nursing, or our ADN, Associate's Degree in Nursing. What students need to focus on are these courses here. I'm totally simplifying the process, but they would need to complete our prerequisites first, take an exam, and then apply to our nursing program. So again, to hopefully simplify the process, it's taking the prereq classes, any kind of assessment that's required for that particular program, and then they apply directly to, in this case, nursing. Similar to radiologic technology, otherwise known as rad tech. So if you look at the very top, it'll say what they're looking for. Qualification is based on best qualified rating in the system. And so it'll kind of talk about, again, the prerequisite courses for that particular program. I don't believe they have any additional assessments like nursing. They have to do the ATITs for nursing. But here is a list of all the prerequisite courses in this example for rad tech. Again, all of these informations can be found on our website. So going back to our website, homepage, find your program, healthcare, You look for perhaps, let's do RadTech as an example. Scroll all the way to the bottom, and you have these amazing links that show um, how to just prepare for that program. Another important thing, if you scroll a little bit up, and I'll touch into this a little bit when we talk about how to help your students. In the middle, you'll see these rad info sessions. It's very specific to the different health programs. These are really great to attend, and I'll talk about this in a little bit. So info sessions, but once again, KCC homepage, scroll over, find your major, click on healthcare. If you're thinking about new media arts, you want to do arts and humanities, new media arts, and it'll show you some amazing stuff there as well. And so the site tries to provide just a lot of information to help your students make informed decisions on their next move. But at any point, as Alfie and I always share, just email us. Like if you're finding students kind of getting lost in our website or getting lost in these kinds of documents, let us know, and we're more than happy to help. So, all right. So before I move on to some statistics, if you could write in the chat, I'm all set, and I move on. What are some of the other things you would say, Alfie, in the chat? Like what they should write? That's pretty funny.
Let's register or
We should just
hello.
make up. We should make.
Yeah, we just make up random things. Yeah.
Make up stuff. Anyway, all right. So what I'm about to share with you next is not to freak you out, but just to provide a little bit of just a reality check as you're working with students. And again, this is not to discourage them, but just to have a, I guess, like a deeper dive in their career exploration and having plans, backup plans, backup to the backup plans, backup to the backup plans. So before today, I had emailed our health science team to just give me an idea of the level of competition that's out there for nursing and RadTech, because that seems to be the two popular degrees I've noticed this term. So for associate's degree at nursing, again, ADN, um, in the in the two terms, fall and spring, they get about 150 to 175 applications each term. So say that again. So in fall and spring, they get about 150 to 175 applications each term. They will admit about 24 students in each term or each acceptance term. I think that might be fall. So again, I'll throw that number out there: 150 to 175 applications each term, and when they're ready to accept, they only accept 24. I think between Alfie and myself, we can share that in those 150 or 175, I personally worked with a student who had her master's degree in public health. We've got folks who maybe come from other health professions. And so that's the level of competition in that 150 to 175. And so it's almost telling your students that so they have a better sense of how to map out their next move, or even doing some self-reflection. Alfie and I have talked with students who would ask them, do you like anatomy and physiology? Do you like chemistry? Do you like math? And then that's just to get them thinking about what the next step is going to look like, or what the landscape looks like. If they're like, I hate anatomy and physiology, then it's like, okay, then we need to have a deeper conversation on what your next move is going to look like. I'm working with a student currently. She is getting almost all A's in her prerequisite classes, took the ATITs, which is the exam that you see here for nursing. And she is just waiting on the edge of her seat because she doesn't know. So her backup plan, she is actually full-time at I think she works in some kind of healthcare office. Her backup plan is looked into a respiratory care program. And so I share that because when you look at all our healthcare, if your student is truly interested in healthcare, because that is a huge, huge field, and it's to maybe encourage them to break down what it means to work in healthcare and to explore all these options. And again, I'll talk about that in a little bit. So more on statistics. So for RadTech, sorry, this is going to be a lot. So if you want me to repeat, just throw it in the chat and I'll repeat it. So for RadTech, what was shared with me with their program director in 2019, they had 52 applications, 43 were qualified, 19 accepted. In 2020, 70 applications, 49 qualified, 16 accepted. In 2021, 88 applications, 68 qualified, 21 accepted. In 2022, 88, same number, 88 applications, 68 qualified, 24 accepted. In 2023, 85 applications, 60 qualified, 24 accepted. And so in my funky math that I do, it almost seems like there's roughly a 25 to maybe 35% acceptance rate. But those are the numbers for RadTech. And so it's almost similar to nursing. You get all these applications, but a very small number of students getting accepted into the program. I want to put it out there, folks. Any questions about that? So I just shared some numbers with you all. Again, nursing, about 150, 175 applications in each term, spring and fall, with only 24 students being accepted. And I just broke down the RadTech application, qualified applicants, and then accepted. Any questions or any concerns or any thoughts? This is a biggie. Or am I just freaking everyone out?
I do have a concern real quickly.
Yes. What is your
I think
concern?
it would be, obviously, those kids that want to earn their associates in high school are not going to be selected.
That is a excellent question. And
it's a thought. I don't know if it's a question.
It's no. And actually, I was going to address that in how to help your students. And maybe what I'll do is I'll bounce around. So I'm pausing because I'm trying to filter myself. So between Alfie and I, and this is even to address April's question, because I think it's similar. Those who are getting AA degrees, I am worried for two things. Some that I've met so far have completed courses that are not relevant to nursing. And so there's a student a couple semesters ago interested in our program, wants to go into nursing, got AA degree. So I looked at their transcripts, took botany, clearly not the right class. And so because they earned their AA degree, and let's say they are coming to Kapi'olani hoping to get financial aid, well, they can't because they already earned their AA degree. And so that's the worry I have when folks are getting degrees early, which, it can be a great thing. But if they're looking for financial aid, that's where it gets dicey. And so in that situation, students will try to navigate through how to get aid. So they'll maybe explore our associate's degree in natural science. Like I've seen that. But the tricky part of that is financial aid will only cover classes that are applicable towards the degree. And so let's say they get their AA degree from wherever, and they come to Kapi'olani, and let's say all those classes are dumped into their electives. Well, let's say they have to take classes like anatomy and physiology or math 135, but they're already maxed out on their electives, then financial aid won't cover that. And so they have to find ways to fund that particular or those set of classes. And so I don't know if this really answers April your question, Dana, but it becomes a what if or it depends type response, but also kind of taking a deeper dive on kind of what classes they're selecting, what making sense. But yeah, those who are getting AA degrees, and I'll show you a example in STAR. For those early in the process, it's almost critical that they do some deep dive academic advising and even career exploration to making sure they are picking the right courses or courses that maybe could cut across various options. And so Alfie and I were having a conversation yesterday with a student who was interested in business, but is taking Math 100. Well, for business degrees in the UH system, you need at least Calc 1. Math 100 may not help. So the thought is, well, if the student is not really keen on math, then maybe it's exploring other degrees that could bridge that student to a business field, maybe communications, public relations, perhaps other degrees that may not require a high level of math, but still can be integrated in some kind of business profession after graduating. And so it's more of those doing those exploration type conversations and finding out what's the next move going to look like. Dana, I hope that answered your question or addressed your concern. And April, I hope that answered your question too. We need to more. Yes. So when we see it in the news about students getting AA degrees, and again, I totally understand the accomplishments and hats off to them. There's a bit, I must admit, there's a bit of a worry that Alfie and I have because of the financial aid implications, and just we've seen students change their majors 2 or 3 times, and how is financial aid going to play out? And yeah, and finances is a big thing, so we just want to make sure students are taken care of as far as moving on to the next step. Another thing I wanted to add, going back to the statistics, before I started this session today, Russ Kinningham from our health science department, he wished he could be here today, but oh my gosh, he is fighting a cold. But his thing was preparation, performance, and professionalism. For him, those are the 3 big things he looks at: preparation, performance, and professionalism. So if you look at the RadTech screen in front of you, I believe when he's talking about preparation and performance, it's looking at the classes they completed, how well they performed in those classes, and even if they've done active career exploration in these certain fields, if they're volunteering, stuff like that. Being in health academies are great, kind of going to that next level to see if that is truly the profession they want to go through. I've heard I've went to many times, not too many, not to sound negative, but I've heard from our health folks that if students could jump on a CNA program, and I know that's sometimes free through Good Jobs Hawaii, small kind plug for that. If they could do a CNA program and get in a CNA profession, that gives them a real life look of the health profession. And for some of our health folks, if they have shared that if they can go through a CNA program and do well in that and still feel confident that health is for them, that just sort of feeds their passion, So again, if there's anything active they can do, like in Russ's case, to demonstrate preparation, performance, and professionalism, that would be super helpful. Before I move on to the next one, if you guys are all set in the chat, if you could rate, let's go. Zoom is awesome. Anyway, all right. Now let's go to, I'm going to now toggle between how to help your students and then the questions that were given to me prior to this morning. So things to help your students, as I was kind of repeating about taking that deeper dive. Like if there's ways to not only do career assessments, but have them actively reflect on it. And I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if it's a journal or personal essay. I don't know, but just making sure they understand what their next steps looks like. So again, taking that deeper dive in any kind of career exploration activity, whatever that looks like, whatever that helps validate what their next steps look like. I'm going to show you STAR. And so all for those who have students with an active UH account, they have full access to this. You know what? I want to log in as a student. And so they all have full access to this. And what? Try again. So this is me as a student. And no making fun of my GPA. This is actually live and for real, me as a UH student. But anyway, in every student STAR account, they have this thing called the what if journey. And what they can do is just that. They can do a whole bunch of what ifs. Like, what if I want to pursue this? What if I want to pursue that? And so what's great is they can, let's say Manoa, and let's say, oh, I really want to do nursing at UH Manoa. It's like, okay, if that is your end goal, let's scroll down and find nursing. Alphabetical order. You gotta love it when they choose zoology. But anyway, let's find nursing. You know, I do know my alphabets. There it is. Okay. So there's nursing. And this will look a lot different than all your other students because right now it's pulling from all the courses I've completed in the past. But here it'll tell me semester by semester the courses I would need to complete. So for this, they're telling me, oh, okay, I need anatomy and physiology, I need microbiology, this HDFS, so on and so forth. In these blank spots, let's say it says, okay, physical science for UH Manoa, let's click on that. So it tells me what kind of chemistries or sciences UH Manoa's nursing is requiring. And so they're looking at either biochem or Chem 161 as meeting their science requirements for their nursing program. The reason why I'm not choosing Chem 151 is because we haven't offered that in years. But if you're looking at the two, and if someone is saying, I really want to do Chemistry 161, so walk with me through this. So we go to the class availability, look at spring, let's see what they need for Chem 161. We look at the math. So if they're wanting to do Chem 161, then this is the math course they need to take in order to be qualified to take Chem 161, which is Math 103. So it's like, okay, well, what about biochem? So let's look at biochem. So biochem 141. Okay, see higher and Math 82. 2 years of high school algebra or Math 103. So these comments will help us determine what math class to take. So going back to one of the questions about dual credit or those in running start, stuff like that, if they are wondering what math class to take, it's going through this whole process of looking at what's required, doing a what if journey, and then looking at what the prerequisites that are for those classes. And so for this particular example, if the common thread is Math 103, so again, here's biochem, here's Chem 161, Math 103, then that tells us, okay, if there's any class to be offered, if you have students who are thinking about not only the ADN at Kapi'olani, but if down the road thinking BSN at UH Manoa, and if their chemistry is either biochem or just Chem 161, then maybe Math 103 is the way to go. In the chat, I know that was like advising on overdrive. So are there any questions? Please, are there any questions? I want to make sure that part is clearer than mud. Any questions? Or did? Yes, if not in STAR, if people don't have access to STAR, I would say, yeah, catalog is one option. Website is the most recent, but yeah, catalog is good. if you just saw our fabulous catalog, where is it? The lovely PDF, scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. I know there's better ways to use your time, but maybe the website might be a big help, or just email us. Yes, class availability too. But if you have students who are not a fan of PDFs, scrolling, 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 they can always email us. Do all counselors share this information? When we work with students at our new student orientation, we do these deeper dives. We try to talk them through what's on their mind and making sure they are picking the right classes at the gate. So for those, I don't know about the other colleges, but I know for Kapi'olani, all of our new students have a mandatory new student orientation. Actually, Alfie and I have helped in those advising sessions as well. And they usually assign small groups. So we usually get about maybe 6 to 10 students in our session. And we will ask pointed questions to them. Like, what is your plans? 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, if you had to pick a dream job tomorrow, what it would look like. And so that helps us maybe help them with this whole like what if journey or building their next steps. And so we want to know more about them before we say, oh, pick this class, pick that class. A lot of times we hear stuff like, oh, what is the easy class? It's like, well, let's move that question to what is your plan? What is your goal? We don't want you taking a whole bunch of easy classes to later find out you took all the wrong ones because you had a different goal in mind. So we try to have them really do these what if journeys so that they kind of see the bigger picture. And so let's do a rad tick just to kind of show. I swear I know my alphabets. Okay, rad tech. So there's that, Math 82. And this really starts a conversation about those who are just have a mixed relationship with math. And so if you look at rad tech, you're like, oh, look, you need math 135, which is pre-calculus. Now, in your honest opinion, do you love math or do you like math? And that starts that next level conversation. And if they say they're willing to put up or if they're up for the challenge, that's great. And so we tell them about, you have access to all our tutoring services that are free. There's Manoa's Online Learning Academy. There's all kinds of support out there. So if they're struggling with math, but they really want to achieve this goal, we tell them, don't give up. Maximize all your resources, talk to your instructor, get free tutoring, and just plug away at it. And for me, each semester is a test on if this is truly the path for them. So if they're able to reach out to all these resources, make it through A's and B's, then not only does it show that they're academically ready, it shows the kind of resiliency that they have and their willingness to go through all these challenges. And so we had the student who wanted to be an electrical engineer, and he started off with us in pre-algebra, and now he's an engineer. And so that demonstrated his commitment to his goal. So he was willing to work through what we called back then, PCM 23, which is like pre-algebra at KCC. He went through Alg 2 at KCC to end up taking Calc 4. So in my mind, it can be done. They just have to work really hard. They have to be willing to work very, very hard.
Before I continue, Sheldon, we do actually have, and please be nice, we actually have our nursing counselor, Christy Yoshikawa, who is in the room with us now.
Yep.
So again, like I said, please be nice as she puts the little crying emoji. So say hello to everyone, Christy.
I thought that was a laughing emoji. Is that the crying emoji?
Could be both.
Could be both. Could be both. So she's in the room, so she can help monitor the chat. And so let me since she's here, I'm gonna go through some other things. So again, when you are working with students, again, healthcare, you can, oh, this makes me dizzy. At each page, most of them will have information sessions. So if you click on MLT, medical lab technician, very cool bunch over there. If you scroll down, you'll see all this great information, and then healthcare or MLT info session. Encourage, you folks should attend, your students should attend, your students' families should attend. They should see more than one. They just provide excellent information on what's required, what it's like to get in, job placement, and it's just really great information, free information that helps them make informed decisions as they move forward. So really pushing the info sessions. Next, I'm going to show you the application. So this is, apply.hawaii.edu. And as you know, your fun folks at Kapi'olani Community College is the lone CC that does not promote the Kama'aina app, and we have a lot of reasons why. But because we know we are the lone folks who do the traditional app, Alfie and I are there to help your students whenever, wherever. And so if they're having issues, they can always reach out to us. But so they'll click on this, they'll click a application account, and students need to remember when they create an account, they want to use an email address that they're going to check regularly, because that's where they're going to send updated information. And so I think before we hit record, there's questions about what should students anticipate. They should really be checking the email address that they use to create their application account. And so if they're telling you, I didn't get anything from KCC, it's like, well, have you been checking the email address you used when you created your application account? Because that is very, very, very important. So let's go back to apply.hawaii.edu. Scroll over Kapi'olani. Let's get that going. I'm going to log in to mine. So when your students create an account, it's going to take them directly to add a program. So the thing about health sciences, when I showed you the prereqs, these courses can be taken at any college. And so I was at Hanalani the other day, and they don't need to drive all the way to Kapi'olani to take these prereqs. So I encourage them to apply to Leeward, because they can knock these out at Leeward Community College, or again, any college that's closest to them. And so again, going back to the preparation, performance, professionalism, they want to make sure that they're in a place where they can do well. And so I don't think sitting in traffic from Mililani to KCC is going to make them do well. So it's kind of getting them to find that location where they can take these courses and just do well. So anyway, back to this. So when they are looking at programs, but let's say they want to do the thing about RadTech, but they really want to attend Kapi'olani because our campus is just so awesome. So they would do filter, campus, Kapi'olani, and then you can even go down to major, and then you can type in liberal, click on liberal arts, and then it filters it down, click close. And then you don't want to choose liberal arts art. That may be for maybe our pre-new media art students. So that's that. So liberal arts art is different from just general liberal arts. But again, for those interested in new media arts, liberal arts art. But you want to scroll all the way to the bottom, and that's where you're going to have your general liberal arts classes. And this hopefully addresses the financial aid questions that I got. By them choosing liberal arts, that'll help them pick these prerequisite courses. In addition to being in a classified degree, students will not receive financial aid if they're undecided or in an unclassified degree. And so by being in liberal arts, that'll help them receive financial aid. So this goes to those who may have earned an AA degree while in high school. Because they earned their liberal arts degree, it gets tricky as far as financial aid goes. Because they've already earned their AA degree. So they cannot get aid for another AA degree. So it becomes a question about how are they going to fund, if they need to take additional classes through the CCs, how are they going to fund it? And so when you have these conversations with students who want to earn credits either through early college or Running Start, whatever it might be, it's kind of understanding the financial aid landscape and trying to see what their financial situation is going to look like afterwards. I hope that made sense. But that's ways to help. Another question that that was brought to my attention was there any wait lists? Maybe Christy can answer that. But that's sort of, I guess, if there's any major takeaway. Oh, sorry. Before I leave this website, you want to select liberal arts? No, we don't have a liberal arts health. Just general liberal arts, and we actually did have a liberal arts pre-health option, but there was some back-end chaos with it, so we had to eliminate it. But with the general liberal arts, what's neat about that degree, they have to do 18 credits of electives. And so if you look at this, there's room for them to populate their electives with a lot of like prerequisite stuff. But assuming they have that free. So for those who have completed or took a lot of, maybe didn't complete the AA degree, but just took a lot of early college and or Running Star courses, it gets tricky because we would like to see how many courses they completed and to see what wiggle rooms do they have left in their electives. Maybe I'll show you folks that. So here's KCC, this is liberal arts, find your program, let's do liberal arts. Let's scroll to any one of these. Let's just do economics. I'm making it up. Scroll down. It'll take you to a general liberal arts. Let's do here, general liberal arts. There you are. Make a copy. And then here's our very overwhelming program sheet that you know that every person can easily understand in a matter of seconds. But if you look at the bottom, you see here electives. And so as students starts to check off these boxes, if there's anything extra, it gets sent down to the electives. I mean, this is like really quick advising stuff. So one example would be in their sciences, if you read up here, they just need one biological science, one physical science, one lab. So if you look at nursing, they need 1 year of an AMP, so physiology, and I mean physiology 141, 142, microbiology. So those are all biological courses. So if you go to liberal arts, their first year of AMP will count as this, their chem would count as that, their extra biological science would fall into their electives. Basically, that's how it works. So anything extra in these categories, another example would be if they took Math 103 and then also Math 135. Well, Math 103 will come up here. Their Math 135 will go down to the electives because it's extra. They just need one math class for the liberal arts degree. So as you can imagine, for those who are getting their AA degrees in high school, all of this would be filled. All the electives will be done. So anything extra would make things very complicated. So that's why we do the general liberal arts. And I believe this makes it a lot more flexible for those interested in health without having like a specific pre-health AA degree. So I hope that helps. That is kind of that's kind of it in a nutshell. So to me, if there's any takeaway, it's having those deeper dive conversations. And as far as the application process goes, selecting liberal arts, and then letting them know about the selection process for our health programs and new media arts. What happens when students do put RadTech on our application, because that was another question. We switch it on our backend, so students do not have to submit another application. There's a few students I was working with this morning. They had put a certain health program in their initial application. We saw it in our spreadsheet. We told the counselor, don't worry about it, we'll take care of it, because we don't want to make the process overly complicated for our students, because it's already complicated as it is. And so what we do on our end, we just check it out. We check out their grad date, and then we switch it back to liberal arts. But just know that when students do put, say, RadTech as their degree, we do some checking just because they indicated that. So the reason why I share that part is because in that process of checking, it does delay when we accept them, because there's just extra measures we have to do, but we will change it. They will get a letter from us. If they're applying now, they'll get it early enough so that they can participate in the earlier new student orientations. But that's what happens on the back end. So again, I'll repeat that, where if a student does put nursing, we will switch them to liberal arts. They don't have to worry about that. And then they'll get sort of their communication afterwards. And speaking of which, so when students do apply to Kapi'olani, I sent a video to all of you folks. They will get a general acceptance email from the UH system. And then from KCC, our personalized acceptance letter comes out in around January, February. But I'm so grateful that there's a bunch of students that applied for fall 2024 already. It just really helps us. It helps, I think, everyone. And what we're going to try to do with those students is get them through the journey as mindful as we can. We're going to try to also introduce them to other things our campus has to offer as a way to engage them in more campus activities. We encourage them to reach out to Alfie or myself if they want to do a campus tour. We are more than happy to do individual tours with their families. Small kind plug again for our CTE day that's in February. Please sign up. We have a lot of neat hands-on activities on that day, open to all high schools. And that's it, folks. So if there's questions, feel free to throw it in the chat. You got Alfie, Christy, and myself ready to answer every and all questions. We have a podcast. I'll show that to you. If you want to do this one here for those nursing folks, this one here with one of our former students, she will talk to you about how she tried to get into nursing over and over again, and then got her nursing degree at HPU. She talked about holding someone's doo-doo in her hands and living the dream. So really great story to hear and share with your students. I was super grossed out. Our CTE day, it's Friday, February 23rd. Bring as much high school students as you can, as you want, if you're able to. I hear there's still a lot of bus dramas, but if there's ways to bus in all your students to our CTE day on February 23rd, morning we'll shut it down at noon to be mindful for your schedule. Just like all of our other tours. Again, February 23rd in the morning, our CTE day, a lot of cool hands-on stuff. But that's it. If they are questions, we'll be happy to field them. I think I may have answered it all. I hope. I'm looking at the sheet now. I think that's it. I'm gonna just do like a silly closing just so that the recording will sound okay. But thank you everyone for coming. Enjoy your day.